Going live, going live. No one's here yet. Let's tweet out. Okay. And I will wait for some people. Let me tweet out this link, letting y'all know I'm here. Okay. Going live. I hope this angle is good. I'm using it out. Chat. Waiting is the rough game. Oh, okay, someone joined. Hello. I just tweeted out the link, so I hope you found. You're live. Okay. My Wi-Fi totally dipped. Oh no. My bad. My Wi-Fi went away. Hawaii's internet, not the best, not the best. Let me try and fix this camera angle real fast. There we go. A little better. A little better. Thought it was appropriate that I'd wear my Black Panther shirt today because of the Brown Girl Book Club. So very appropriate to rep some Black Panther. And oh my God, I know I'm probably like talking to myself, but Let Me Hear a Rhyme, this month's book, was so good. I really hope people read it or enjoyed it or have read it and enjoyed it. I just feel like Tiffany D. Jackson is so slept on. So slept on. She is just, her writing style is very like, she creates such a community. And comment down below if you can hear me okay, because I'm connected with my headphones and I'm hoping as I found, normal and what's not. But yeah, it's been a couple minutes, so I'm gonna just start. Oh, hey, Alexis. Thanks for joining. So I think I'm just gonna start answering the Q&As that I got. So today I'm gonna do like some answering questions, and I'm also gonna talk about Let Me Hear a Rhyme. And I have a ton of questions, but if you have questions down below as the live show goes on, let me know. Ask away. I'll also answer your questions. But let's start with what are some books that you're excited for? I have two books that I have been hearing nothing but good things about. Ooh, the table is not sturdy. One being Raybearer. Everyone has been raving about this book, and like the first sentence alone is so gripping. I feel like it's going to be great, but I still have no idea what it's about. But I'm really excited for this book, and everybody has been saying that it's going to be really good. So I'm really looking forward to this book. And then I also am looking forward to The Black Veins, which has to do with magic. It kind of reminds me of Harry Potter because it's a magical world that's in our own. But these are two books that I'm really excited for to read very soon. I kind of need to finish them because I'm participating in my owls, and these two I need to finish to like do my owls. Yeah, we'll see if I actually do that. Hopefully, real soon. And then another question that I got on Twitter was, what author would you want to meet? This is so hard because there are so many authors I really want to meet right now because I just have been finding a lot of good authors lately. Like Tiffany D. Jackson, I read Monday's Not Coming by her, Let Me Hear a Rhyme. Those are so freaking good. Like I can't tell you how good her like mystery is. She just embeds mystery so well into her books while like keeping a fun, lighthearted tone about her books. So I definitely would want to meet Tiffany D. Jackson. I'd also want to meet Elizabeth Acevedo. She's like queen, like the queen of queens to me. I just love lyrical writing so much. So I'd want to meet her. I'd also want to meet, who else would I want to meet? There's so many authors, Renee Watson, Angie Jackson, Nick Stone. I'd also like to meet like Veronica Roth, tons of people. Yes, Monday's Not Coming was so good. So good. And let me know if any of you guys read Let Me Hear a Rhyme because I have so much to unpack about that book. It was so heartwarming. Spoiler, I think I'm going to give it a 5 star. I'm still debating between 4 or 4.5 and a 5 star for Let Me Hear a Rhyme. But let me know if you read it and what you're rating it because I'm still trying to decide. It's in the air. But yeah, going back to some other questions that people had asked me on Twitter. What book would you want to live in? That is the hardest question because I feel like all the books I read are either really like hard hitting contemporary. It's like I kind of like I already live in that difficult world, but I don't want to be like in it. But then also I read a lot of fantasies, so I don't know if there's actually a real world that I would want to go into, like a book world. So I think I'm gonna opt in saying that I'm going to continue living in my world. I don't think there's a fictional world yet that has made me want to join it just yet. I mean, I loved like The Last Magician, but I don't know if I want to go into that world because they're like oppressing magicians and stuff. Even though it would be cool to have magical powers. Not too sure if I'd want to join it though. Let's see. Another question someone asked me. Oh, what character would you want to play in a book to movie adaptation? And a lot of people ask me that question because some of you may know I'm an actress. But so I get asked this question a lot. And I think I'm going to make a whole dedicated video to this. So comment letting me know if you'd want to see that. There are so many books that I would want to be in the book to movie adaptation. And I'm trying to put it out in the universe because I know Children of Blood and Bone is going to be made into a movie. I know that, what's that? Um, no, On the Come Up is going to be a book to movie adaptation soon, and she just announced that the screenplay was written recently. I would love to be in that. I know I'm not Brie material. I'm not rapping. I'm not that kind of person, but I would love to like be. I think her name is Shauna, like the kind of uppity student council president, or she just seemed like my kind of character. So I would want to do that. But there's so many other book to movie adaptations that I would just want to be in. So I think I'm gonna make a whole dedicated video to that because honestly, there is so much. I just like want it all, man. Yes, With the Fire on High would make such a great movie. Oh my god. And I am speaking this into existence, man. It's going to happen. I swear. I swear. And oh god. We'll see. We'll see. It depends because with everything going on, Hollywood is on pause. But I'm just trying to tell myself that it's like that to give me time to warm up into Hollywood. But yeah, and guys, let me know if you have any questions in the comments too. But the another question I got from Twitter is fave book read this year, which is hard because I honestly feel like I've been reading like okay books, but I haven't read any like stand out like Poet X books yet this year. I like Poet X is my standard. When you feel like super connected, you feel that like spark of like you're living for it. I haven't had that yet this year. I really liked A Sorcery of Thorns because it's about like a magical girl who like in a magical world that talks to books and books can become evil. And I just love when books and like libraries are embedded in books. It's just so fun. Oh, are people talking to me on Twitter? Okay. And yeah, so I don't know if I have a favorite book this year. It is only April, so I feel like there's going to be more books to come. And I have a lot of books that I want to read very soon. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. We'll get a favorite. And then someone also asked me if I speak Spanish, which is hilarious because I am Cuban. My mom's from Cuba. But I don't like saying I speak Spanish, even though I can kind of, sort of kind of speak Spanish. But I understand Spanish better. Yo entiendo. I don't speak it well, though. I need to practice. Oh, yes. Poet X is so good. I'm just reading your reply. Poet X is an all-time, like, favorite book of mine. And the audiobook is so freaking good. So freaking good. But yeah, going back to the questions, another question I got on Twitter was, what's it like living in Hawaii? So if you don't know, I'm actually in Hawaii right now. So you might hear a lot of birds chirping and like nature. Living in Hawaii has really changed my life in such a positive way. We used to live, me and my family, on the East Coast. And it's a very different environment here in Hawaii because it's very relaxed. And though I think the relaxation of everything, it just made me realize what's important in life is like your happiness. So it's really changed my attitude and my attitude towards chasing dreams. Let me read some of these comments. Liza's short story? I have not. I'm going to read it. You mean like Elizabeth Acevedo's short story? I need to find it. I have not. And then, wow, okay, so jealous. I miss Hawaii so much. Oh, I'm glad you're having such a great time there. Yeah, I feel you. When you like are on the island and you have to go back to the mainland, because as a person who wants to be an actor, I live in LA for most of the year. I'm only here now because of what's going on in the world. But I miss Hawaii so much. So I feel that when you leave the island, you just want to go back. And I definitely would not like to retire here. I know I'm young, like thinking about retirement, but I like just want to buy a house in Enchanted Lakes. So if you're a person from Hawaii, you know what that means. If you don't, it's okay. It's a very hilly, like homey area, and not really high on the hills, like lower where like the regular people, not the rich houses. I just want a nice regular house in Enchanted Lakes. That's the goal. But yeah, I definitely feel for people who have to leave the island. It's just okay. Going back to more questions. What do you use to make your curls pop? And this question made me laugh so hard. I get this question sometimes on like YouTube videos and like Twitter. So I'm gonna show you guys what I use on my hair. And I feel like this could work on like any kind of curl pattern hair. I have like a 3B, 3C curly hair pattern. So I use this. I have a gel and a moisturizer, and it's called Curl Mix, the Pure Avocado Moisturizer. Y'all need to get on it. Besides, okay, this is blueberry and it smells freaking amazing in your hair. It's like, it literally smells like candy. So if you're like a little sensitive to smells, you may not like it. But it's really good because it's like you need slip to detangle your hair and it just does everything right. And it holds with the gel and it'll last for like 4 days in my hair. Like my curl pattern will last. Like I did this is like 5-day hair. It's a little frizzy, but like it's not bad. Like I can go outside and still feel like, oh, my hair looks okay, you know? Voluminous. But yeah, definitely check out Curl Mix if you are a curly haired person. It is more expensive, but it's taken me years to find a brand that I truly love because when you keep using up products, you like I was on the hunt for years for good products. And it's just like you don't want to spend $5 here, $5 here, $5 here and hate using the products. So I rather drop the $20. I know that's so much on that, but it really, really works. And it works and it like lasts me 3 months. So that's what I use to make my curl pop. I also might make a dedicated video about my curly hair routine because it's been such a journey. I feel like curly hair people understand the struggle, whether you have really thick, coarse curly hair or really thin curly hair. It's so difficult to manage. It's a lot of time. I have a Sunday routine. I might make a whole video about it because it's a lot of work. But definitely check out Curl Mix, guys. It's awesome. It's really good. Okay, another question. Most anticipated reads for the year that I have. I think, and this might be obvious, Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo is 100% my most anticipated book, like ever, like ever. Don't even know what it's like about. I don't want to read the synopsis. I'm that person who's just like, give me the book. I pre-ordered it. It should be getting here around May 8th or something, but it depends, with everything in the world. I hope to get my hands on it soon. And if it takes too long, I swear I'm going to order the ebook too, because I just really want it. I've been looking forward to it so much. And I just know it's going to be so good because Elizabeth Acevedo can do no wrong. That's like the theme of my channel, to be honest. Yes. So that's an anticipated book. And I think another anticipated book of mine is The Raven and the Dove by Caitlin someone Davis. I don't remember the author's name too well, but I've been looking at that cover for so long and I really want to read it. I have high expectations and I know I shouldn't because it might let me down, so we never know. My friend gave me, oh, you have an arc? Oh, I'm so happy for you. Oh my God. I want an arc of Clap When You Land so bad. I did not get approved. They were like, Jess, your NetGalley score, too low. Okay, what's my favorite nonfiction book? You've caught me red-handed. Do I have one? I mean, I loved like Becoming by Michelle Obama. I feel like that book, and I listened to the audiobook where she narrated it. That was so good. But I definitely really need to fix my nonfiction reading. I don't dive enough into that, and I definitely need to fix that 100%. Okay. And then Caitlin Davis. It was so good. I hope you end up liking it. You read The Raven and the Dove, and you said it was good. I'm getting my expectations up, man. I'm, like, scared because like, I don't want high expectations for books, but then, like, I really wanna be excited to read it because it just makes it a more exciting experience. Gosh, I really hope I like it. Okay, sorry, I'm being super extra. Books just make me so excited. Are you going to try some new genres this year? I really hope so. I just don't, like, have, like, the money to be buying a lot of books. But I did get some adult fantasy books recently, and they're on my Kindle because they were on sale. Kindle has been doing a lot of sales recently, I think because of everything going on. So they're like, read. We know you want the books, read them. So I know I have Black Leopard, Red Fox, which I think is an adult fantasy. I'm really excited for that. But I definitely want to dip into more genres. But sometimes I feel like my genres that I just love are urban fantasy, YA, and YA contemporary that has like a hard hitting story. I feel like those are the genres just give me comfort, you know? I definitely just want that comfort in my life, especially how everything is as of late. I just want something that I could fall into really easily. Like Let Me Hear a Rhyme, our monthly pick. I know it's YA and contemporary, and some people may not jive with that, but I really love the community and the writing, so I just feel like it's something easy that I could just fall into and like get swept up in. So yeah, I definitely do want to try more genres. Like, I think I'm gonna dive more into nonfiction. I need to do more research though. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's see. Oh, one of the questions that someone asked me on Twitter was, "What book is my comfort book?" And like, what book do I always return to? And the funny thing is that I don't reread books very often. I don't know why. It's like that with movies too. It's like I don't rewatch movies that I like a lot, which is weird. You think you would, but I just don't. After I love it once, I'm always so scared that if I go back to it, I'm not gonna love it as much. So, a comfort book that I return to, I guess I'm gonna have to say Poet X because it's the only book I think I've ever reread within the same year, and I have reread it I think 3 times now. Most books get one read through, and eventually, when I lower my TBR, then I want to actually go back and reread favorites. You know? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Jayla, for understanding. Like, sometimes I just want to read a book once, and if I love it, I'm like, okay, no one touch you. You're perfect, or you're really bad, and I don't want to read you again, and I donate you. Those are the two options. Okay, and then what's in my TBR? So full. Yeah, and my TBRs are ever growing, especially with all those Kindle sales. Oh, my TBR is so wild. Okay, and then someone asked me on Twitter what's a favorite play of mine, and guys, I'm gonna geek out on you for a hot second. If you have not heard of My Children, My Africa by Athol Fugard, he's from South Africa, he is South African, and it speaks about apartheid, which is, when there was civil unrest during South Africa and they segregated themselves. It was real bad. But he has a play called My Children, My Africa that's all about the education system. It talks about feminist qualities. It talks about being black, segregation, going through that, modern day stuff. It is the best play ever, and I feel like it's also such a well written play that you could read it like a book, and it's like enjoyable to still read without worrying about the live aspects of a play. Because sometimes when you read a play, you're like, that was okay, and then you watch it and you're like, shook. But yeah, so I definitely say I recommend My Children, My Africa by Athol Fugard. I always mess up that last bit. It's such an amazing play, so underrated. Okay. Another question was Bush book you wish to a book you wish you liked more. Um Honestly, I'm gonna have to say Children of Blood and Bone. That book, like I feel like I always reference that book because so many people hyped it up, and I like had such high expectations for it, but I didn't love it. Love it. Like I feel really bad, and I totally can see why certain people love it a lot. It just wasn't for me per se, but I wish I liked it more because I think it's such a cool world and an interesting concept. It was just like the love interest and things like that were not my cup of tea, if you understand me. But yeah. And then also let me know in the comments if you guys read Let Me Hear a Rhyme, the April book pick. So if I should get into spoilers about that book or if I shouldn't, wave a little red flag in the comments or something. Because I have so many great elements to talk about. This book was just, it covered so much about the Black community and Black experience that I'm in love. I'm in love. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I talked about some of the books that I am excited to read, and then I also wanted to tell you guys, ooh, shook my table, sorry, some of the books that I'm planning on reading next month. I don't know if you guys know, but it's Asian Readathon, so you guys should check out Cindy's video because I'm really excited for it. It's always good to like step out your comfort zone and read different books. So I love things like the Asian Readathon and like the Blackathon Readathons. I wish we had more of those kind of readathons in our community. But yes, I'm planning on reading Somewhere Only We Know. This just sounds so cute, and it's like about celebrity who likes like a regular smegular person. So it kind of gives me those vibes of like a Cinderella story, if you know what I mean, with Selena Gomez, where it's like you fall in love with a pop star, and it's just like really cute and romantic. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm gonna read it for the Asian Readathon next month, and then I'm also gonna finally pick up Love from A to Z. Everyone's been talking about this book, saying they like it. SK Ali's first book I didn't love as much, but I really have heard great reviews about this one, so I'm really holding out that it's going to be good. It sounds really, really cute, so that's also something I want to read next month. I'm here for it. Okay. And then I also want to let people know who are coming in that go to the Brown Girl Twitter. The poll for next month's book is still going. I think it's till like the middle of today to pick our next month's book. And I think Soft on Soft is winning, which is a female romance with like a Muslim American girl and someone else. And it's like introvert versus extrovert relationship. And I think that's very cute. But there's also the choice for like the worst or the best worst man. I always confuse it, the best worst man or the best worst something. uh, oh, sorry, I covered the camera. But yeah, and then I think yeah, and then there's just vote if you haven't voted already for the next book pick. I'm so excited. I love everybody who comments on Twitter about the Brown Girl Book Club. Last night, someone posted about how like everyone should go follow because we were almost at 200, and now we're at 200 followers on Twitter. It's exciting because I just want the community to like celebrate brown people and brown authors, especially during this time. Like I really hope Tiffany D. Jackson gets a lot of respect. You know, I really love her writing style and everything like that. But yeah, comment down below if you have any other questions. If not, I'm going to start talking about the book pick. And I'm not going to go into spoilers yet. I will let you know when I talk about spoilers. But there was just so many great concepts in this book. And I firstly want to talk about on the first page of Let Me Hear a Rhyme, Tiffany D. Jackson just rocks our world by saying that Black people in America have to tell their own story tell their own history through their conversations, that they have to protect themselves. And it's interesting because, as we all know, in Africa, history was only told through like oral stories. That's how they had kept a record. So it's interesting that Tiffany D. Jackson tells us like we're still doing that. We're still not getting our history told in the same way as other people's history, that we have to rely on ourselves to keep the truth alive. And I was just like, you are so right. And I'm like, how am I supposed to handle this on page 2? Like this whole book is about how we have to hold on to our own truth and we need to do what's right for us. And it was just impeccably done, impeccably done. And I told you guys kind of earlier that I'm in between a 4.5 star and a 5 star. I believe Let Me Hear a Rhyme is a 5 star because of just the energy it gave out and how much the story, the concept of the story just means so much to so many people. I could see so many people just really relating to the content of the story. But I do kind of want to lean towards a 4.5 just because I think it was missing a little bit of that spark. I think, is anyone asking me any questions on Twitter? Oh, no, not yet. Okay. Well, let me also talk about the fact that the story for Let Me Hear a Rhyme, in case you don't know, the hype Tiffany D. Jackson up a little bit more. I'm all about hyping up my brown authors. We respect in this household. Okay, so this is Tiffany D. Jackson's third book, and it is Chef's Kiss. It is about a boy who gets murdered, and his sister and his best friends decide to take his old CDs that he has mixed, because this book is also placed, or it's told in the 1997, the year I was born. That's why I'm excited about that. And so their brother passes away, and the sister and best friends decide, okay, you know what? I don't want his memory to die. Like, he was such a great person. He deserves so much in life. Let's send his music out and try and like keep him and his message alive to Steph, the boy who passed away. Was also such an incredible person. Like, he was there to help anyone, his boys, his sister, his mom. He worked so hard, hustled so hard. So this group of people, his friends, his best friends, decide, like, we're going to keep him alive. And they do something crazy and start handing out, like, his mixtape to people, and no one knows who he is. And they called him the Architect, which I thought was a really cool name. I feel like I've heard that name before. Possibly, is it Angie Thomas, who also had an architect in her book? It was incredible. It was truly phenomenal how they tricked everybody into like, oh, this dude's an artist. You should buy his CD. And everyone started listening to him and was like, oh, he's so cool. They even went to a record label to try and get him signed. Steph, this guy who passed away. And what I also love is that the whole Tiffany D. Jackson does this where in the beginning it's all about community, energy, funny jokes. I can't tell you how many times Marvel was referenced, Spider-Man. Like, it was so cute and funny. Like, the whole beginning was such a joyful, like, lively moments. And then it gets really serious halfway through. And that's what I really appreciate about her books, because they have such a heavy message. She delivers it lightly at first, and then she really hits you towards the end about really missing someone who you've lost and things like that. And also the concept of chasing dreams, that why do dreams have to change after you pass away? And it's, or after you lose someone, does that mean you can't think of them in the same way, can't love them the same way, can't wish the best for them? It's crazy. And so, like, trigger warning for loss of a sibling. I feel like that should be a dead giveaway. It's in the description. I hope you guys know that going into that. But it also, I think it's just so refreshing to talk about someone in that light and not focusing on whether or not they're a bad person. Because I also think a lot of books about brown people do that, is that when someone passes away, they're thinking, like, oh, this person's a drug dealer, or this person's that, or they deserved it, or what did they do? Tiffany D. Jackson's just like, oh, this is, someone who was well educated, wanted to go to college, wanted to become a professional musician and rapper, was mixing tapes, doing everything professionally, helping his friends. Like, this was an all around good person. So I also really love that focus, that this was a driven person in a community where people are constantly judged. And then another aspect of this book that I loved was the girl on girl scenes. Because at first we get this one character who's like kind of really girly, and I'm not going into spoilers yet, don't worry. But basically, the book talks a lot about how there's a lot of judgment on girls. The main girl, Jasmine, you can kind of see her here with her puffs. She gets made fun of a lot for wearing her hair natural, especially during like the late 90s, because everyone was straightening their hair, and that was like the trend. So she kept it real, and she also has like Africa medallion. So a lot of people kind of made fun of her for being natural all the time. And it's so interesting because even though this book is placed in the late 90s, we are still facing so many of those issues today. Is that a lot of people have judgment based on curly hair, wearing it natural and whatnot. But I digress. Basically, this book talks about not judging girls anymore. And I really like it because there's one particular moment that they were talking about rappers, female rappers. And of course, Jasmine's trying to be super feminist and being like, yeah, I hate that female rappers talk about sex all the time and are half naked and are selling themselves short. But then the other girl, because I know some people subscribe to that idea that girls should be always feminist, always this and that. But the other girls who kind of do their hair all the time and make up a certain way and try and fit in, they said, you know what? No, men get to talk about sex all the time. Men get to do this and that. Like, why can't women do that too? And it was such a nice perspective from a feminist point of view, not to just judge girls who like to dress up, and also not to judge the girls who like to keep it natural. It's like either way, you're a girl and you should feel empowered to make your own choices. It's just as long as you're making the choices that are right for you. You shouldn't be making choices that are based off of anybody else's beliefs. And I can't believe Tiffany D. Jackson, she just threw that in there. She was like, oh, what chapter are we on? Let's add some feminists. Let's sprinkle some juice into this chapter. It was insane. I truly, truly loved that. Oh, so good. And then talking about judgment, there's also a large part of the book that talks about judging people's choices in communities. Because if you're in a low income area, not a lot of people talk about going to college or creating a career. And a lot of people judge people for the decisions they make, like selling drugs and stuff. It's like, well, if you're hungry, like I completely get that that's not something someone should do. But the book also talks about what real life is like when you're hungry, when you don't have means to an end. So it brought up so many interesting good points and about not judging people's decisions, especially if you don't understand where they're coming from. Fantastic. Oh, and they also talked about snitching in this book, which is such a concept to me because I used to get so mad at school when kids would be like, "Oh, you can't snitch on me, yada yada." It's like the only people who ever get upset about like snitchers is the people who are doing bad things and doing messed up things who don't want to get caught. So it's like I hate the idea that it's like, "Oh, you're not supposed to snitch. You're not supposed to do that because then you're gonna get me in trouble." It's like then you shouldn't be doing bad things in the first place. I can't be the only one who thinks that idea, right? Especially in Let Me Hear Rhyme because the snitching policy only applies to people who have been like murdering other people. It's like, no, as a community, we have to focus and prioritize our well-being rather than people who are screwing our communities, taking our money and ruining the community, you know? But I really like the discussion about snitching because it did also talk about the fact that snitching is a problem because if you snitch, you are harming or putting yourself in harm's way too. It shines so much light back into every nook and cranny of the community, which is just so phenomenal. I loved it so much. I think I'm gonna end up on a 5 star for Let Me Hear a Rhyme. I don't think it's like my favorite book of all time, but I still really appreciated all the things that she brought up. I really appreciated those female characters because at first when Veronica, the girl who's kind of snooty, came in, I was like, I'm not gonna like her. But then Tiffany D Jackson does her magic, and you're like, oh, I actually do like her. She's like a solid person. And it was just really exciting to see that because I know a lot of people talk about that now. So good. And I know I'm also not a huge music person, but for those of you who do like rap, Biggie, Tupac, I really love how it was embedded into the story because if you love music, you'll definitely love all the parts that like brought it up. Like I love there was like some geeky Marvel moments, which I love as I rock my Black Panther shirt. Um, so, but the way she embeds music, I also feel like it's comfortable for people like me who didn't grow up during those times who aren't I'm like not too huge into rap, but the way she embeds music is just so great. There are lyrics in here too, so it's kind of like on the come up where there was rapping in the audiobook too. So I really do recommend the audiobook as well. Yeah. And then you can kind of see I've annotated. The lighting is so janky. I'm sorry. You can see that I annotated. So how I annotate my books, I don't know if this is just weird, but I'm like kind of lazy with my annotating. So I will underline something. There's no spoilers here. I'll underline something and then I'll put a little pen dot at the end of the page. And that way I can like just refer back to my favorite moments. I tend to only do that for like things that make me laugh or when I like write down like a guess about what's happening. Another aspect of this story that I thought was really interesting is that there's a lot of mystery to this. Because if you read Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson, or allegedly, it's like there's mystery. There's a big element of, I don't know what's going on. Something serious is going on. So I really appreciated that she kind of stayed true to her writing style and added that layer of mystery. We don't know what happens to Steph, the boy who passed away. And throughout the book, there's kind of cherries here and there about who done it and trying to figure it out, and Jasmine trying to figure out what happened to her brother. The mystery element was so impeccable too. It's just like such a well-rounded book. And there's also a cute little romance that I ship so hard. And I think it's funny because at the same time, I do ship the romance and I love it. So, and I know I'm rambling, so feel free to ask me any questions if you guys have any in the comments. But I'm gonna ramble just a little bit longer. But I ship the romance because it started off with this couple that looks kind of chaotic, and you're like, I don't know if I ship this couple, but it changes to a different couple, and it's like, I actually now finishing the book, I kind of like both couples. I don't think it was very high school. I feel like the first one had a lot of judgment because they weren't communicating right. And I also like that they talk a lot about communication and secrets and how people feel that they need to protect themselves and keep everything bottled up. But that's probably like the worst thing you can do is not tell somebody what's going on and what's happening in your life. So yeah, it was impeccably done because I really like the turnaround that in the beginning you don't like this couple, you don't agree with the girl because she's kind of snooty, and then in the end you see her standpoint, her viewpoint, and you see that you can't judge people, you don't know them, and especially in a book where you are focused on like the main character, you don't see everybody else's perspective. It's like you can't judge them. Mm-mm. Nah. So I think I'm going to land on a 5 star. Let me know in the comments if you have your ratings for, and like if you read Tiffany D. Jackson, if you read Let Me Hear a Rhyme. Let me know what you think the rating is. I also am so excited. Another anticipated read is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson, and I think it's kind of based off of the R. Kelly stories or something that I don't know if it's a personal story of Tiffany D. Jackson. I don't want to say it wrong, but it's about the miss I don't know how to say it without being graphic, but like what happens to young women in the industry who, the Me Too movement. So I'm really excited for how she touches on that subject matter because I also think she's such a strong author when it comes to handling sensitive topics. Because you think, like, oh God, this book is about someone who's passed away in the like Brooklyn community and his wrongful death and trying to keep his energy alive, and you're like, you might be overwhelmed and be like, is she gonna do this right? Is Tiffany going to write me a sad book? Am I gonna be crying? I personally didn't cry during this book, but I think she has such a strength in writing books that, just tell the sensitive story in a fun way where you can read it and not like be depressed, but also realize the real issues and see what we need to do for the future and how to be good people. And it just makes such great commentary. I'm just like, I'm living for this content and I can't wait for her 4th book. I think it's going to be just so phenomenal. Loving it. Loving it, loving it, loving it. I can't even think of an aspect that I don't like, to be honest. I was trying to think of like maybe I can get into spoilers now and talk about what I didn't like about the book. But to be honest, I think I loved everything about this book. There's not much that I didn't like, besides the fact that like it's timely. So the language is very, very, in my opinion, kind of corny, but it's supposed to be the like late 90s. So of course people are gonna be talking like whack and all that funny stuff. Oh God. But that was the only thing, but it kind of added to the community feel of the audiobook to make it seem like they were real people trying to be real cool. Another concept, sorry, I'm totally not all over the place. I'm doing fine. It's okay. Another thing that I really loved about this book, besides the discussion on education and going to college and trying to not get out of the community and break away, but to utilize the skills that you have. Like there was a kid in here who gets made fun of, but he's like super smart and can do math like that. He's like bomb at it. And he's kind of thinking about going to college, but doesn't know exactly what to get into. He's like, I like music, but I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. And I loved how each of these characters, even though we're in a black community, they all had bright futures. They were all well educated. They all had talents and skill sets because you know what? Most people do. It's very rare to come across a person who literally has no plans for themselves or doesn't even have an inkling or a dream. So it's really refreshing to read this book where every character, even the morally gray characters, all had dreams and all had aspirations. So impeccable. But another concept that was brought up in this book is wealth over riches. So, everyone's about that get rich quick scheme. And I feel like that's kind of the American dream, to be honest, is to get rich quick, buy your house, get married, have kids, period. But in the book, they were talking about, no, I'm not looking to get rich. I'm looking to be wealthy. I'm looking to have my money and keep it too. I don't want to just go to the bank with lots of money. I want to own the bank. I want to become self sufficient. And I think that is such an interesting discussion to have because no one talks about that in communities of lower income where people are struggling. And I know I'm coming from a place of privilege, obviously, because my parents from a young age said, chase your dreams. And I know not everyone always has that, but it's so lovely and refreshing to see a book talk about that because that way people who read the cover relate to the story, pick it up and read it. They have an inkling of a chance that I could chase my dream too, and I could try and become a wealthy individual, whether it comes to helping my community, becoming more knowledgeable about the things that I love, chasing my dreams, being wealthy in the sense that you don't have a lot of material items, but you have, what you need to sustain yourself and your family, be happy, and not have to worry as much. And thank you for the love, Brittany. I'm glad you like my videos. um, I'm laughing at myself, not you. I feel very, like I'm blushing. Oh. But yeah, I just think I respect that so much, and I also respect the fact that all these kind of concepts, if I can speak, that are in this book, she doesn't. Tiffany D. Jackson. I say her full name because I really like the sound of it. Sorry, but she doesn't just throw these in willy nilly. These are concepts that are just so well fleshed out. They're placed so perfectly at the right moment. It's just there's so much thought that it goes into them, and I'm just like baffled by how in awe that I am always by reading her books. It's just perfect. Yes. And don't forget, let me know if you guys have any other questions in the comments. I know I did a Q&A in the beginning, so let me know if you guys have any other questions, because I know I ramble like way too much, especially about books that I love, because you know me, if you see my channel, I talk a lot. When do I upload a video that's under 15 minutes? Rarely. Rarely. Oh my god. Which reminds me, I've talked a lot about all the things that I loved about Let Me Hear a Rhyme, and I don't think I'm going to go into spoilers because no one's commented about if they read it or not. So I'm not going to go into spoilers. If you guys want a spoilery review, let me know. I can make a separate video, or I can put it in my wrap up because I'm going to do a recent reads soon. But I'm also really excited because my next video that's going to go up on my channel is tier ranking, the tier ranking trend for books. But I'm going to tier rank all the POC books that I read because, everyone's been talking about the series that they've read, and that's fun and all. But at the same time, I feel like it's so rare to see people of color in those lists. I mean, there's Saba Tahir and some, like, I bet people talk about Tomi Adeyemi because they have series out, like fantasy series. So I feel like the fantasy genre of tier ranking is very done, very saturated, and I haven't seen a single video where someone is reviewing POC books. So in the last 2 years, I've really upped my reads of POC books, so I'm really excited. I think I have about 50 or 60 titles that I'm going to try and rank, and I'm going to try and get that to you by Tuesday. Very excited for it. Let me know if you guys are excited too, and what books you think are my god books. I feel like it's really obvious. Oh, it's who I love. But yeah, I'm also excited because though I do want to read different genres this year, I'm really looking forward to discovering new authors because I feel like I discovered Tiffany D. Jackson last year, and I feel like there's so many other authors that are kind of floating under the radar. Like, yeah, they publish books every year, or they've won an award for one of their books, but I feel like they still get slept on. Like, I feel like Piecing Me Together, which is one of my favorite books, is kind of slept on, and I know I have talked to no end about how that is my favorite book. If you are subscribed to me, you know. Oh, I have to burp. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Are there any other Latinx books that you're excited for this year? Oh, shoot. They'd be in my Goodreads about my Latinx books. I'm really bad with names. Besides Clap When You Land, there was another author that I was really excited about. Can I remember? I know I recently added the Black Flamingo to my list because the Irish Reader did a vlog where he read it, and that was really interesting about someone who is gay and coming out. Which also that's something I need to really get more into is reading more queer books in my like contemporary and like having more queer characters in my fantasy. Which is also why I like the Black Veins because there's a non-binary character in there, and the main character is bi, and I just think queer representation something that I'm definitely lacking in my reading, but it's, I think, a genre that's definitely growing, and I need to dip more into it because as a queer person, I need to read more queer books. It's just, I gotta do it. Let's see if there was any Latinx books that I'm excited for because off the top of my head, I only got sight on Elizabeth Acevedo. And that's the thing, too. Love her to death, but watch, there's like probably 20 billion other Latinx authors out there who are doing amazing things, and I haven't noticed them. Like, I know Ibby Zaboy is an author that I really, really love, and she's a brown girl, but I don't even know if she's coming out with a new book. She probably is. She's always writing, always. But yeah, let me check in my Goodreads to see if I can find any other books that might have interest y'all in the Brown Girl Book Club community. Let's see. Da, 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 da. And then again, let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them and not embarrass myself, even though I do that on the daily. Okay. I don't think I have any Latinx books on my Goodreads. I have like Dear Justice from Nick Stone. I'm really looking forward to that. It's a continuation of Dear Martin, which is going to be so good. I have some fantasy books, like, where was it? The Chosen Ones by Veronica Roth. She ain't a brown girl, but I support her because I'm a Divergent stan, guys. It's just, can't get away from it. Okay, let's see. Oh my gosh, I'm also really excited for Smash It by, oh, she's a booktuber. I can't remember her name. I don't know, Francina Simone. Really excited for that. That's coming out soon. Now I'm trying to find more books besides Clap When You Land. I also need to expand my Latinx books, apparently, guys. I'm learning so much. There's so many things that I want to read everything. Lately, I have been a little bit more into reading high fantasy just because I want like a different world than our own. It's the way of how the world is right now. Like right now, I have it in front of me. I'm reading A Reaper of the Gates because I have the audiobook on Libby. I'm in the middle of like way too many books, guys. Follow my Goodreads if you want to know. My like currently reading is always like 7 books long because I'm such a mood reader. But I also really like the Ember and the Ashes series. So if you were looking for another author of color series, but I know this series has gotten a lot of hype, I feel like. So I feel like the series is like, it's covered. It's been talked about. Everyone knows. And I think her 4th book is coming out soon. I don't know if it's the final one, but it is an incredible series. Yeah, I definitely need to do more research. Oops, sorry, I shook my table. Do more research on my Latinx writers, my queer writers, getting on it. And follow my Goodreads. I'll leave all my information down below, especially the Twitter for the Brown Girl Twitter. I tweeted out this link for the live show, and I also put my polls up for our monthly reads on my Twitter account, Brown Girl Book Club. So if you want to get more involved and stuff, and you could always tweet at me if you have any questions. I love it when you guys do that. It warms my heart because I definitely want this to be a community. I want us to talk about it. I want us to rave about the amazing like brown authors out there doing incredible things. Oh, a Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow to Your Oh, it got Cuban in the title. You got me. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Someone just commented about A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. Oh, you know what is also a really good book that had a Cuban rep? She was Cuban American and French. Saltly Bittersweet. Yes, I talked about it in a recent video of mine. It is incredible. I also raved about that in my recent reads because she, besides being mixed, the goal, and I love that books are starting to cover more than just people's color. It's not just about that. It's about the person, their aspirations, and I also say that in the sense that it's okay to also be confused and not know your aspirations, like either or. I feel like someone's life is always geared towards something. So that's what I love about books. That's not just about your race and what you face. How do you like the book? The Sum? Wait, sorry, I'm trying to read this comment. I'm not too sure what the Sum is. I'm so sorry. What you commented. SOM? It was an acronym. But you guys should check out Saltly Bittersweet. So it is a Latinx writer. I got the arc on NetGalley, and it's just so good because it talks about careers in such a way. Because she wants to be a chef, Michelin star, a Michelin star chef, but that's a really really hard career trek to do. And she's in this really elitist program, and she kind of feels like she has to be nasty to win and to succeed, and she feels like she's bleeding out for her goal every day. But at the same time, she has this guy that she's kind of crushing on, who's like, you need to chill, you need to enjoy your life. Can you do what you want without like sending yourself to an early grave because of the stress? And it talks about hustle culture so much. So that's an author I need to put on my radar more often because Saltly Bittersweet was so good, and it's so sad because that book is not getting enough like representation. I'm definitely going to talk about that in my tier ranking video. I think I'm going to film it today. I might, my hair is still looking okay. I'm gonna probably do my wash and go tomorrow to kind of freshen up a little bit. But yeah, I'm adding the Cuban's Guide to my TBR. I'm so excited. I love books that have Cubans in it. I'm a little biased being Cuban. It just makes me so excited. I'm just like, yes. Ooh. Oh, it popped up. Yes. Oh, I think that is on my TBR. Oh, yeah, it is on my TBR. And I think I own one of her books, too, from Lauren Taylor Namely. Thank you for letting me know. I'm definitely going to keep my eye out on that. It does come out in October. I'll see if I can request an arc for it. Are you guys on the whole NetGalley like thing? Are you guys aware of those arcs? Because I feel like I'm gonna do a 24-hour readathon tomorrow to catch up on all of them. Because even though I read Saltly Bittersweet, I also read a love hate thing on NetGalley, which was like a 2-star, 1-star book. It was really bad, but I feel like after reading a love hate thing, I've really fallen behind in my NetGalley reading because I'm scared now that I'm not gonna like the book, and I'm obligated to read it now because of NetGalley, and I want a higher score. So now it's been stressing me out. I'm like 12 books behind. I'm at a 24 score. So if you don't know, NetGalley is a website that gives you free arcs. So that's why I was asking if you guys are like know about it, if you guys do it. I know someone commented about how they got a book on NetGalley. So I feel like it's known in the book world. But I'm so behind. Tomorrow, I'm going to start tonight at midnight. I'm going to do a 24-hour readathon, only reading my NetGalley arcs because I am so behind. I'm like 12 books behind. 24th score. I'm an embarrassment. And The Raven and the Dove is one of the arcs that I got online, so I definitely need to read it. I'm just going to read some of the comments. Sun is also a star. Oh, Sun is also a star. I kind of didn't love that book. I feel really bad because it just focused a lot on the romance of it. And it was like insta-love, the whole book, which is the whole point of the book. So I feel like it just wasn't for me. I don't like that kind of trope. And or 69 Ways to Love. Oh, I haven't heard about that. I'm going to add 69 Ways to Love You to my TBR. Sorry, I'm my thumbs. Thanks, Brittany, for commenting. And then we have another comment. Do you ever feel guilty when you don't like a book by a POC author and give it a bad review? I feel terrible. And me and my mom were talking about this because it's so important that we continue to try and add these stories to our libraries because these are stories that need to be heard. And I always feel so awful as someone who has a substantial following on YouTube. I mean, under 2,000 isn't a lot, but it's still like, imagine if 10% of my like 1,800 subscribers, 18 people buy a book. That's like supporting an author. Like even if 10% of people support that author, and if me giving them a bad review limits them in any way, I feel terrible. And that's why I also try and focus on reviewing books that I love and promoting books that I love instead of talking about books that I don't love. And if I talk about a book that I don't love, it has to be something that I really, really don't like, and there's a particular reason why. Like I brought up a love-hate thing earlier, which I said flippantly, but I really shouldn't because obviously that author worked so hard on creating that content, and I feel really bad. But it was definitely something that I thought would connect to me, but it kind of felt like a Romeo and Juliet story that was done over, and it stereotypes Black women and Black men. And I feel like, to me, I feel a little guilty talking about it so poorly, but at the same time, the fact that other people also, the other reviews on NetGalley and Goodreads talked about how, hey, like, this isn't okay. I think it's also okay to kind of call out POC authors and being like, I know you're Black. I know you're brown. I know you're Cuban. You're whatever, Puerto Rican, Dominican, whatever you may be. Just because you're that doesn't mean you should misrepresent, like, you shouldn't misrepresentate your group of people, it's kind of sad. And I hope that by not making a negative review, I'm never going to say that like no one should read that book and it's trash, but I definitely want to say that, hey, like I didn't appreciate how these characters were just kind of written, and how can we improve this. And it's always a discussion, like a critical discussion about how to improve this to make it better so we can get the story that really matters. Because I think a love hate thing, even though it's kind of like a Romeo Juliet, people growing up in opposite sides of life, I really love the fact that there was a wealthy Black character and that there was someone from a community who doesn't get the same resources as everyone and is trying to get a second chance at life after losing a family member. What an impactful story! But it's just breaking out of the box a little bit more. Your concepts, so many authors have so many great concepts, and really bringing that idea to fruition is so important, especially for PLC authors, because I think they have an extra lens on them. Sadly, oh, I need some water. I'm chatting. I just realized I've been talking for like an hour and my throat's dry. I didn't like the stereotypes and the love hate thing either. Yeah, too many stereotypes. It felt very dated. I completely agree. It's like, how can you make a character so stereotypical to the fact that, like, I'm like, wow, this guy isn't real. And the thing is, I know a lot of stories rely on stereotypes to kind of sell them, like, oh, hey, like, we're doing a Romeo and Juliet, like, lovers from different backgrounds. And that's like a trope and a stereotype. But to pull me in as a reader, your story actually has to be impactful. It actually has to have different commentary. Like, I don't want to read the same book over and over again, which is also why POC authors are so important. Because reading the same love story between two heterosexual, like, regular, like, you know how proms and like how that's been done. Like, we have enough rom-coms covering prom and how hard it is to get the girl that you like to notice you, or whatever the story may be. To keep adding those differences, because there's so many other stories too that are kind of stereotypical in a sense, but then they add that twist to it, like To All the Boys You Loved Before. It's such a great like commentary on rom-coms, the possibility that Asian people can have love, that after losing a family member that it can be hard for you to fall in love with someone again. So I just think stereotypes are okay, but you have to break out of them at some point. You can't have a whole book only on that one thing and no one ever grows, because then that's just infuriating. Oh, so what was my favorite book growing up in high school? Which is kind of funny because depending on how long you've been subscribed to me, you may or may not know that I didn't read a lot during high school and middle school, because I am dyslexic and I'm not great at reading. And this is why I always fumble people's names, because it's just hard to like look and understand some words, especially words you don't hear often, like names. So I avoided reading really so heavily during my high school years. But I did like reading, and that's the thing. I've always loved reading, but I definitely love it more now that I have the ability to get audiobooks and be able to read the story and like engross myself more. Because with my own eyes, now that I've read over 100 books or so, 200 books within the last couple years, my eyes have actually adjusted to reading a lot more, and I can enjoy the story more without judging myself. Because that's the thing, when you have a reading disability, you spend the whole time judging yourself. But to answer your question, so I didn't read a lot during high school. I think the only two books that I kind of liked in high school was the Divergent series, because I saw myself in Tris being somebody who wanted more of life, having reading disabilities, having disabilities in general, feeling isolated. Like, I felt like Tris a lot, someone who wanted to be strong and confident. And then I also loved The Fault in Our Stars. So I was very like a cliche girl in high school with what I love, with what I loved. Ooh, but yeah, those are the two books that I read a lot during high school. I wish I had Angie Thomas and Renee Watson and Nick Stone during my high school years. I would have had such a different life, I think. I think I would have found my love for reading so much sooner and wouldn't have felt so bad about everything that I was going through. Even though a lot of people go through stuff during high school. It's normal. Okay. Did you ever finish Kingdom of Souls? Oh, I'm called out. Okay, I put that down after about 200 pages because I think I want to go back to it eventually. I have the audiobook for it. I don't have the physical book with me in Hawaii. I had so many issues reading Kingdom of Souls, not because of the writing style, but I just found certain things repetitive. Like, I have a problem with certain plots in fantasy because, how do I explain? So, you know, the Mission Impossible movies, they're all kind of the same, and you're after this one goal, but what keeps you interested in it is that the way they go about their goal. And in Mission Impossible, they fail and they come up with a new plan that's even crazier and more outlandish. So I think that system really works for fantasy. It's a safe path because it's like you never know what's gonna happen. You have a plan, it fails, da 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 da. My problem with Kingdom of Souls is that, for me personally, I felt that the main character kind of had the same goal for those 200 pages that I read. She needed to do X, Y, Z. She couldn't let X, Y, and Z get power. And it was just that repetition of the inner dialogue about, I need to do this. I need to stop this. I need to do this. And it was just, at that point, I just didn't care. And I felt really bad because, like, the story was interesting ish, except for the moments of really cool action were so short, and we spent so much time in this girl's head talking about how she needs to do stuff. And just for me personally, I don't like that. And I felt that possibly if I finish it and get to the very end of the book, I'll like get more of that action that I'm craving. So I definitely want to finish it. I want to give it another chance. It was definitely lining up to be more of a 2 star for me, if I'm being quite honest. And but that's just personal taste. That has nothing to do with the author or them needing to change anything. I would never say that it was a bad book. It was just my personal preference. And then the book 69 is always love you is not. Oh, thank you, Brittany, for correcting that. But yeah, I think I've answered everyone's questions. Let me know if you have any other questions because I think I'm going to sign off soon. It's been an hour. And I don't know why. After about an hour, my voice starts to just hurt after talking for so long. I mean, I think that's normal to like get tired of talking and tired of hearing your own voice. Mm. Also, comment down below if you have any other book recommendations for me. I love that. And I also, that's why I really love this kind of book club because even though not everyone might read the books that I like say we can all read, I'm getting so many recommendations regularly from everyone who loves reading books and loves to support brown authors. It's great. And I love getting all those recs. I know in a while back, I posted a book tag, the mixed bag tag, talking all about that. And I love watching those videos and seeing everyone's recommendations. I might do a remix of that because I still want more recommendations. And I just love that my TBR is getting filled with people that I relate to, and it makes me so happy. But that doesn't mean I'm excluding Caucasian writers, obviously. And I feel like the Brown Girl Book Club, you can join as someone who doesn't identify with your gender or as someone who is not brown because it's all about just supporting brown women authors sometimes because I feel like they don't sometimes. And I just love that our community here is just like, let's talk about it, let's represent. Put charming as a verb on your TBR. Okay, it looks like a cute black romance. Oh yes, I'm gonna totally put that on my TBR. And you should let your audience pick a read for you 1 month. Audience pick a read. I could totally do that. Maybe I'll do that with my whole TBR 1 month. Just let people pick which books I should read. Maybe I'll do like a 24-hour readathon, which I'm trying to figure out something, but that's really interesting. I'd love that. I've seen some people do videos like that where you let people pick. But again, if you want to help pick the Brown Girl Book Club for next month, follow the Twitter. The poll is in my Twitter feed, and there's like 4 book options, and they're black adult romances for next month. So we're not reading YA. We're finally dipping our toe into a different genre, finally. Yeah, so follow the Twitter account if you want to help vote for the Brown Girl Book Club picks. And I might make a spreadsheet at some point to figure out exactly what other books you guys want to read, so that way it's not just me. Sometimes I feel like, I don't know, like I won't get input, then I'm a little scared. Would you ever do a live chat with your favorite YouTuber? My God, I would love to. Last Brown Girl Book Club live show, I was with Alana from An Awkward Book Nerd. Love her channel. She's freaking cute. She deserves way more subscribers. But yeah, I got the chance to do the live show with her. I have asked some other smaller YouTubers or booktubers that I watch that I love to kind of join me in my live show, but some of them just can't, especially with how everything's going in the world right now. It's hard to stay motivated, and I completely understand that. And now that I'm reading an adult romance, or whenever we pick the book, I think the poll ends today for everyone to vote. I'm so excited. There was like 46 votes for the book this month, so I'm really happy. I got a lot of input this month for our book pick. But I'm definitely going to reach out to other YouTubers and see if I can invite them to the live show. I also think it just alleviates stress, so I don't have to talk for a full hour. Because I know not everyone's going to love that. I love you people who love that, but I know other people would like to see other YouTubers, not just me. Ooh, let's read a mystery one month. I agree. I'm writing that down right now. I know I want to do a nonfiction, but I know in May I kind of wanted to do something lighthearted. That's why I chose adult romance because I felt like we needed something not heavy, especially with how everything's going. So I definitely want to have mystery is a great suggestion. I'll try and find PSC mystery authors. I bet there's a ton that just no one knows about and they're totally underrated. So check that out. I also want to do nonfiction. If anybody has any other recommendations for nonfiction books or mystery books, let me know. Love recommendations. I love it. But okay, it has been over an hour, and I hopefully answered everybody's questions. And don't forget to vote for the Brown Girl Book Club book pick for next month, reading adult romance. I'm very excited. Oh, lighthearted mystery? On it. I love this. You, I see you. I see you. You're cool. Mhm. Okay, but I am going to wrap up the live show. I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out with me this long. If you stay tuned to the very end, comment down below that you are the VIP because you deserve a gold star, and I want to make sure I like have another conversation with you in the comments, being like, yes, you're the best because you guys truly are. I feel like so honored to have this channel where I can talk about the things that I love. Like I don't know, I feel like not a lot of people talk about people of color, and it's just something I'm very passionate about because I am a person of color. I have my own disabilities and all this craziness. But just, it's good to feel seen. It's good to feel heard, even if it's slightly different than you. If I read a book about a Muslim American teen, if I read a book about an Asian American teen, I just feel like trying to reach out and read different content is the goal in life to expand ourselves. And that's what I really want to do on my channel. And I will do that also by reading different genres. I got you. We're dipping into the mystery nonfiction. But yes, I can't thank you guys enough. And you guys allow me to do the things that I want to do. And it's great. And I just always want you guys to know, feel free, comment and DM me or whatever. Let me know if you have any other ideas that are great because I also want to create stuff that you guys want. I hope these are the things that you guys like and want. I got in comments recently that yes, you guys do like it. So I just want to keep, putting the two together. I'm gonna make content that I like about awesome brown people, the occasional Caucasian who's outstanding. But yeah, thank you guys. I am going to sign off here. Make sure to comment down below of the video after it downloads that you're the VIP if you watched all the way to the end. And I will see you guys in my next video or my next live show. And I can't thank you guys enough. But I hope you guys have a great Saturday, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys. Now I just have to figure out how to close this.